through, fumbling through, fumbling through, fumbling through, fumbling through.
Greetings, loyal lovers of podcast goodness, and welcome to Fumble Through.
Fumble Through!
A podcast that might take a succubus out on a date if it knew how to speak to girls. So sit back and enjoy as we continue to play out adventures of our three heroes in real time. We'll improvise our two favourite types of roles, play and dice. And if you love what we're doing...
You can follow us on socials, Facebook, Instagram, or like us on whatever podcast app you're listening to us on right now.
Fantastic. I'm Justin, the GM, and I kind of manage the story parts, but the most important people are the players. And here in the Fumble Factory with me is Lindsay.
Hey, how's it going? I actually still get ID'd at bottle shops.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I guess I look under 25.
Your baby face.
Yeah. It always gets laughed when they actually look at my ID.
That's pretty funny. Luke?
Good day to you. I would like to know, does anyone around the table understand why when we get older, our hair falls out from our head, but the hair on our nostrils increases in its intensity?
I haven't experienced the hair falling out part.
Oh, well, fair enough.
But there's been hair growing all over my body since I was 5.
Oh, right there.
We are aggregate hair growers.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I find it's not my nostrils, it's my ears.
Ears. That's starting to be a problem now.
Yeah. And my back. And my legs.
My upper
And my
upper cheek. Just under my eyeballs.
Your eyelids.
Are you going for werewolf?
Well, yeah, it is a bit Teen Wolf.
I also like the fact that as I've gotten older, I'm turning into a wizard because my eyebrow hairs are getting
Nice.
longer and longer. And
Get
I'm
the
like,
curl.
they're my wizard hairs.
Just leave them.
No.
Yeah.
Because that's like a curtain I have to see through.
To be fair, I may be losing hair downstairs. I just can't see past my stomach. No.
It's funny because your entire lower half is bald.
And last but not least, Brett.
I've been thinking why they don't make the whole plane out of the same stuff they make the black boxes out of. Well, if that survives, why don't make the whole plane out of it? I've
He's
just
getting
been
these from a
thinking.
website.
Yeah, I've been thinking that
Remember,
since myself.
do you remember when Brett used to give us facts? Do you remember when he'd come in and he'd tell us random facts? But now we get, why is the black box not the whole plane?
All right, I've been thinking, what do you reckon little birds see when they get hit on the head?
Stars. This week's discussion point is about equipment. What is an unusual piece of mundane equipment that you buy for each one of your characters, and how have you made sure that it has been useful? So look at your character sheets. Tell me what piece of equipment that you've added to this character and most of your other ones that you're like, I never leave home without this as an adventurer.
One of the pieces of equipment that got pointed out when I first started playing Pathfinder, which is essential, is soap. Apparently, according to the rulebook, if you don't bathe regularly, you lose negatives to stealth checks.
Because you stink.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we role play bathing more often?
Is it a non-fragrant soap?
I assume so.
Is it just a pit stop that you need to do? You know,
Isn't
like just
all
under the
fantasy,
pits and groin? Or-
But is that a piece of mundane equipment? Like, I'm talking about that thing that you're like, I must put this on my character sheet because in these situations, it's the most useful thing. Like, I'm not talking about rope or everyday kind of items that you would use all the time. I'm talking about that thing that you've got like an extendable ladder or an extendable pole.
So you're saying soap is not mundane?
Well, I'm saying that most adventurers...
It's luxurious.
If you look in the kits, all the kits have soap in them.
Yes.
So every kit has soap. But I'm talking about like that thing that you're like, oh, you know what? Each one, I always carry this. And then
Well,
all
then
of a
the answer
sudden-
is no.
You don't have anything like
No.
that? Wow. Really? Oh,
I'm lucky if I remember to buy the kit.
wow. That's interesting. What about you, Brett? Do you have anything like that on your character?
I like a pound of flour.
Yes.
Because invisible creatures around, you chuck it out there in a 5-foot space, you can see them, you can see footprints, and people, you can put it behind you if someone's trailing you. A pound of flour.
The
Cool.
surprise on the faces of the other
I've never
two.
seen him use
Yeah.
it. That's why.
I always
In
carry...
a certain circumstance.
Yeah, there is...
That or a piece of chalk. So if you get lost
Same
in
thing.
dungeoneering.
They're my two go-tos. I always carry wax, I always carry chalk, and I always carry... instead of flour, I carry a thing called... There's chalk powder.
What's the wax for?
The wax, just in case I need to melt down and seal or...
It's that hair thing again.
yeah.
In case you've used
You
up all
can-
your slots
or
for
you
casting
can-
grease, you just
if-
wax the
If
floor.
you want
and-
to find out somebody's broken into your house, you melt the end of the wax,
Wax seal.
put it over the door. So if someone cracks
Oh.
the door, you know if they've been in there.
I have chalk currently, and I'm like, I'm sure it'll come in handy at some point.
Chalk is great. Like the amount of times that you go, oh, I don't have it. I don't know what to do. Oh, secret door, chalk, outline.
This
or
is where the body was
trap.
found.
Yeah, like you just give the rogue a piece of chalk and get that trap identified through chalk. It's also nice to like draw little pictures on the floor and then jump through them and take Mary Poppins on a journey with you.
Cool.
It does include, you're right. It does include soap. There we go. So,
Yeah, they all
soap. It's got. Is it soap on a rope or is it soap and rope?
It's that soap in the shape of a pope on a rope.
Nope.
Gets right. Yeah.
You dope.
Gets right in the cracks. You hope.
Then you have to elope.
I just can't cope.
This podcast dope. Anyway, let's go.
Brett's like, nope.
I thought I had the shit jokes at the table.
They're not just for you, Brett.
There's
They're
not a
for-
monopoly
shit
here.
Jokes are for everyone.
Is that it? I hope.
Just
Fucking hell. Round in circles.
yeah. So I bring you to the Cat and Mage. The inside of the Cat and Mage is just as crooked as its unique exterior. A series of copper pipes run along one wall, ending in taps behind the bar, where an overweight, freckled and old halfling with blue hair serves drinks. Pierre, the gnome guard who brought you here, has a jug of ale for each of you and raises her tankard with a wink. To little girls getting food in their hungry bellies, and the silence of good folk who let it happen, and does a toast to you all. The ale is well made and chilled, making it even more enjoyable. Looking around the room, you see that most of the people are finishing their evening meals and getting ready to depart. There's a variety of races represented, though the most common are humans and halflings, as they have been throughout Absalom since you've been here. Now, you say you're new to these parts. Tell me a little bit more about what you're doing in town, and I might be able to point you in the direction you need. Where is it that you said you're from, or exactly?
There's a bit of shifty eyes around the table as we're trying to figure out what's the best course of action with where we've been and where we're going.
Good lady Piara, we're new to town. We haven't been to Absalom. We'd love to know more about it. We've just arrived from other places. Quite a interesting and arduous journey, I should say. Interested to know more about Absalom, what we might find. There seems to be some interesting contraptions around as well.
What do you mean, interesting contraptions? Absalom's just Absalom.
This is our first time, so anything you could tell us about what's about, how the city works, how to keep out of trouble.
Are you serious? You've come over here and you haven't even done any research about where you're going. Where are you from, did you say?
Most recently, we've came from Newsham.
Newsham, where's that?
Oh, it's a little town over that way,
Oh,
I think. Or
So-
is it that way?
so not really from around here.
No, not at all.
What about you, little one?
Oh, I'm hailing from Jalmary originally on the journey of finding adventure and looking after my good friend here, our kid.
Ah, and what brings you to Absalom? What are you doing in these parts?
Well, we find ourselves visiting unexpectedly. We were on our way to an observatory to do some research.
We're just kind of stumbling through.
Ah, research, you say? I think that you've come to the right place. Now, you know that Absalom's divided into a lot of districts, right? And you're right here in the Wise Quarter, the home of the most major government buildings in the entire of Galarian, but also the center of learning, not only in Absalom, but in the entire world.
Really? How is that learning compiled? Are there universities? Are there libraries? What's the...
Have you never heard of the Arcanarium, the most prestigious arcane magic academy in the Inner Sea?
No, haven't. I've had a library at home, but it's quite small and haven't read much.
Oh, there's plenty to do in the Wise Quarter. I guess that you're here for a bit of sightseeing?
Well, yes, sightseeing would be fantastic. We don't enter a new town without seeing all the sights. But
We also might need a little bit of work.
She's kind of looking at you, like your shifty looks back and forward, putting her a little bit on edge, and she's kind of looking at you weirdly. She's kind of saying, you guys are hiding something from her, and she's sensing
Ignorance.
it. Because how are you guys intending on covering that up or smoothing it over?
Miles is going to chuck some money and go, can you get us some more drinks? I just want to have a quick sidebar on with the rest of the group.
Of course I can get some more drinks. There, you're speaking my language. She kind of scoops up the coins and she toddles off to the bar.
What are we going to do? Are we just going to tell her the truth?
I think...
What is the truth? Obviously, what is going on?
I have no idea. I think she's brought us into some confidence, and perhaps we need to bring her into our confidence and tell her we don't know where we are and how we got here. That some
thing
magics
is,
have brought us.
This is the third portal in, 2 days that we've stumbled through. I don't want to drag any more people through this issue if it's centered on us.
Interesting, that last portal that we went through, perhaps I found a way to attune ourselves to the ring, and maybe that will give us some control. I don't know, I'll need to do some investigation overnight, but we do need to attune ourselves each to the ring at some point.
Attune?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Become in sync with it. Align your magic harmonies with its.
Right.
I saw, in the portal, I saw a little vision of something, and I think that
You saw
might help
something?
us. Yeah.
What did you see?
It looked like Beldrin.
Belgium.
It looked like Beldrin. I think assumption that Beldrin was aligning one of his students or acolytes to the ring so that they could travel together.
So the ring's taking us through the portals then, Flopsy.
It does appear that way.
So what would happen if we didn't attune ourselves, do you think?
Perhaps I would travel and you would not. Don't want that to happen.
We need to attune ourselves to the ring.
I feel quite exposed without the little nugget in front of me.
Do we tell Piera, though, about what's going on?
Which-
Obviously, she's getting a bit suspicious because this town is obviously a big town in the area and we don't know anything about it.
It would appear to me that we need some information about Absalom, and the best way to get that would be from Piara. That my pockets are empty. We need somewhere to raise some money to get where we need to go. And I know for one that I need to explore and investigate what these portals are doing and find out where we are and how we got here and how to control that. And I have no idea how to get back to Kath.
Ma always said honesty is the best policy, so I think we just come clean with her and tell her what's going on.
I agree.
Why do we think... Well, hang on a second, guys. Why don't we just give her part of the truth? Why don't we say we've come through a portal we don't understand? Don't mention the ring. Don't mention it's the third portal. Just say that we were portaled here and we don't really know how or why.
Some unexplained magic's brought us here.
Yeah,
It's not a lie.
just not the full story.
You can see Pierre starting to move back with the drinks in hand. You see her coming towards you, and you know if you want to finish this conversation, you're going to have to do so fairly quickly.
So for me, got here unexpectedly, not sure about Absalom, we're from a far way away. If she could help guide us through town and help us understand where and what, and help us point us in direction of making some money so we can find our next steps, I'd like a bath, a bed, and a nice night's sleep.
With that, Piera returns to the table with your drinks in hand. All right, another round. Drink up. And she kind of cheers you all again.
Cheers.
To new visitors to Absalom, the greatest city in the world.
Thank you, Madam Piara. If we may, we've got some questions to ask.
Oh, of course you've got some questions to ask. Look at where you are. I'll be happy to provide whatever I can.
You talked about being part of the Learned Guard in the Wise Quarter.
Yes, that's right. I am part of the Learned Guard. And she kind of looks a little abashed when she says that. Yes, but that means that I know my way around and I know a thing or two about where we are. So what can I answer you, dear sir?
We understand, Madam Piara, that perhaps you've taken us into your confidence quite a little bit in assisting young people to get a good meal in their belly.
Oh, look, little kids, they're doing it tough.
I wonder if we could trust you likewise.
Oh, well,
Could we take you into a confidence?
Sure. What do you mean?
Well, then this might be hard to understand. We've arrived here unexpectedly by some magical means that we can't quite control. So we find ourselves in Absalom without knowing where or how this city works, and without the coin to last more than perhaps a week.
Oh.
So we need to know about the city, and we need to find ourselves a little bit of employment.
Oh, you're looking for jobs. Why didn't you just say that at the beginning? What skills have you got? You look like you'd be all right at washing dishes. And she looks at little Reg and we get you a little step or something. Meanwhile, she's exactly the same height as you. What else? What kind of employment are you looking for?
Well, I used to work as a beet farmer.
Oh, really?
Yes.
There's not really that many farms here in the big city.
You will have exclusivity.
I'm sure that there's plenty of things. Oh, right then, she kind of looks up and you can see that entering the bar is a large male human wearing the same uniform that Pierre is wearing. With a sigh, she stops dead in her tracks and she says, look, can you excuse me for a second? I've got to talk to someone. I'll be back with some more drinks. Besides, I'm sure you've got plenty to talk about. And she jumps off her seat really quickly and moves with haste over to that person. And they start a very animated discussion. You see him pointing his finger at her, putting his hands on his hips. She's animated back to him and they go on a little bit. But it also gives you guys a chance to have another conversation between yourselves.
What are we going to do then, Flopsy?
I think we take a night here. We ask Piara to show us around tomorrow. Try and find ourselves some employ.
And
washing dishes isn't
until
going to
then,
cut it. There's no way
I'm
putting
not
my
washing
hand.
any damn dishes.
I think we are way more skilled than lowly dishwashers.
until then, we get good and drunk.
You may well do so. Here's a gold piece for you. To do that, I'm going to get a good meal, get a bed, have a bath, and wash the stink of the cold and the wet and the rain and the ice slope and all of that crap.
Frogs.
And slaughtered. She's coming back. I need a bed, a room, a meal. We should ask what's going on in Absalom because I've no idea what the layout of this town is, and we should find a way to get some jobs. I need us to get together tonight to try and recreate that ritual with the ring. Look out, she's coming.
Look, I'm sorry about that. And she puts another round of drinks on the table, and this time you can see a little bit of the wind has kind of been taken out of her sails, and she sits there, grabs the tank.
Are you okay, lass?
Oh, look, I'm all right. And she smiles at you in a way that you can see it doesn't touch her eyes. The mirth didn't touch her eyes the way it did before she spoke to that guy. She said, anyway, look, enough about me. Back to you. So you want to know a little bit more about Absalom, do you?
Yeah, what's here? Where are we exactly in this quarter? What's the bite?
Well, you're currently in the Wise Quarter. Now, there are heaps of places you can go. You can go to the Foray Logos, which is the biggest library of Kortos around the place. The Arcanumarium, which is the magical academy that I said before. There's the museum that you want to go to, but although actually Blackross is closed at the moment, so they're not really letting people in.
Pardon me, what name was that?
The Blackross Museum. Surely you've heard of it. It's one of the best places in all of Galorian.
Heard the word Blackross before, thank you.
I know
Of course,
the
everybody's
Blackross.
big black building, made of obsidian, that kind of thing. Oh, I know where you should go. The Silk Castle. The Silk Castle. It's the best place that you can find within 1,000 miles to get by a kite. There's kite things. They often do little.
Yes, kites are great. Back to the Blackross Museum. Tell me more about that.
Well, it's closed at the moment.
Why is it closed?
I don't know.
Is it just because of the time of day, or is it just closed for like refurbishment?
No, people aren't allowed in. They've shut their gates to people. Rumor has it the members of the Watch got let in last week, but I don't know anything about that. I definitely know it's shut to the members of the public.
Who runs the Blackross Museum?
The Blackross family, of course.
Do they live in town somewhere?
Well, I'm assuming they live in the museum. I don't know them personally.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, one thing that you probably would know, and she kind of looks outside and she says, you know about the Veil, don't you?
Can't say I do.
Oh, every year at this time, in the evenings of fall and spring, when the land and the water temperature mix a bit, we get a bit of smoke that comes along. It's pretty invasive. So you've got yourselves nice light sources, right?
Yes, we do have some good light sources on us.
Yeah, excellent. That's good to know, because if you go out into that smog, that's when all the bad people come out. Of course, the nefarious folk like a little bit of cover, and they use it to make sure that nobody can see their misgoings on.
Must be a busy time of year for you then.
What do you mean? Are you calling me nefarious?
No, you're part of the Watch. You're surely acting against in the opposite direction.
Well, actually, I am glad that you're kind of saying that. I too am looking for a job at the moment. Actually, it's something just came up really, and I'm not really working for the Learned Guard anymore. And she looks towards the door and the guy that's walked out a little bit. She says, so anyway, tomorrow's going to be an excellent day, because tomorrow I'm going to, and with that, Pierre is interrupted by a scream as a cloaked figure rises from one of the tables, grabs a nearby serving girl, and presses a strange kind of tube, a gun almost, to her throat. At the same instant, another dark-robed figure stands on a nearby table, throwing back her cloak to reveal leather armor as she brandishes another one of those strange guns in each hand. She's got a salty look on her face, and she says, "Everybody be cool! This is a robbery!" And the male with the serving girl then follows with, "Nobody move or I'll execute every motherfucking one of you." It's only then that you notice that the door's been blocked without anyone really noticing. The female gestures behind the bar and says, "Beans, get a register." He looks at her in frustration and through gritted teeth says, "I thought we agreed that you'd do it this time, Galitan. You promised. Besides, I can't do it while holding this one, can I?" And with that, the female sighs and you see her prepare to move. Pierre whispers to you, "We have to do something," giving you the opportunity to act if you want.
Piara, should we just let them do what they need to do and leave? Is that the safest option?
Look, we've got to do something. We can't just leave this person. They're gonna rob everyone.
Including us?
Well, fucking do something!
Okay, Miles is going to try something he hasn't done before, and he's going to try and do his hex from a range at the guy that's holding her hostage.
Okay, so Miles shoots into action.
How far away are they?
Go for it. You
Two
guys get a
assailants.
surprise round because they're not really expecting anyone from the crowd to do anything. So you get if you want to do something, you get a standard action to do it now.
Have I got a clear kind of like line of sight on the
Yep.
guy? Okay,
Do
so
you want us to roll for initiative in this surprise round?
No, you guys get to do one round. They're not expecting you to move. So you each get a turn and then we'll roll initiatives to see how you go compared to them.
Can I just clarify the distance between us and the two assailants?
They're probably about 15 feet. One of them was 15 foot behind you, one 15 foot in front. This whole place isn't massive. So you're in a common room of a tavern. The whole place would be 30 by 30 maybe.
Okay.
Miles is going to stand and he's going to make look at the one that's holding the girl hostage and he's going to make like a punching motion. And as he does, a ghost fist kind of comes out and connects with the guy holding the gun and he needs to make a will save.
Miles, it's no time to practice your kung fu now.
That is a will save of 3.
He is asleep.
He immediately, you watch his eyes roll back into his head. The gun contraption that he's holding in his hand falls out of his hand and he just crashes to the floor. And the serving girl just crumples to the floor, crawls away, leaving only one assailant left who's headed towards the bar.
Flopsy'd like to do a knowledge check on these assailants. So can we see what race they are?
Half elves.
Ooh, great. And then Flopsy will stand up and say out loud, fear not, people. These are quite obviously idiots trying to take on a whole bar worth of people, not knowing we're here. We'll take care of this matter. What's your name? Beans? Galitan? Galitan? I'd suggest you put your weapons down and surrender yourselves to us now because it will get bad for you if you don't.
Are you trying to intimidate them? Are you trying to diplomacy?
I'm
What's
trying
your
to
intent?
bluff the fact that we can take these
You're not
people
going to
on.
diplomacy? I thought that would have been...
No, I'm just trying to bluff it out. We're going to take you on. We will absolutely defeat you.
What you're intending and what you've kind of said are two different things. Like you're not bluffing anyone. You're getting up and you're blustering.
All right.
It's got to be a diplomacy or an intimidate.
I'll do
check.
the intimidate. 8.
An intimidation of 8. You see the people around you looked at you with a bit of hope, and then the more you talked, the more they kind of went and looked you up and down and kind of shrunk back into their seats a little bit more. You don't think you've gathered the sway of the populace in the bar, and she certainly is turned around and kind of looked at that, but she's more concerned with the fact that Beans has fallen on the floor rather than...
Short stuff. I think it's your turn.
Okay, yeah, so Reggie just draws out a wushu dart and chucks it straight at the assailant. Rolled a 2. So that'll be a 7 on the hit.
A 7 is not enough, and your wushu dart flies straight past her and sticks into the wall with a doing kind of sound.
Count that one as a warning.
Initiatives, please.
Oh, this is terrible.
While you say this is terrible, I don't think it's any better for me at the moment either. So things aren't looking well in terms of rolling around the table. Flopsy, what did you get?
11.
Miles, what did you get?
14.3.
Little Reg.
12.6.
I can tell you that they certainly have not moved nearly as fast as you have. You also see that Piera, in her infinite wisdom, has started to move as well. Miles, it's your go. At the top of the round, you get to act first. You've got one person asleep. You've got her moving to the bar, but she's kind of turned around now, distracted by what you guys are doing. Go for it.
Miles is going to walk up to the other assailant and have a punch at her as well. That's a natty 1.
Oh, no! The rolls are not with you today.
Punch yourself in the face.
I rolled a confirm, right?
Natural 1. Yeah, let's see if
so
you
that's a 16 to hit to confirm the fumble.
A 16 is enough to hit her armor class, so you do not fumble. While you miss, you don't draw a fumble card. You've escaped this time, my friend. With that, Piera stands up and she draws a sap from her belt and she kind of gets into a defensive position and you can see her just watching what's going to happen. Little Reg, you'll go.
Okay, so Little Reg is now going to charge. How close were they?
Yeah, charging's probably not going to. You're in a crowded room, so you don't have sort of a straight line to her.
Okay, so
you can move up, but you can't get a charge.
Okay, so I'll draw my camera and I'll move up and take a swing with that. Oh my word alive! I have to substitute these dice out in a minute. So that is a 8.
An 8 is not enough to connect with her at all. So that brings us to Flopsy. What are you going to do?
You were warned, you stupid woman. And then Flopsy is going to cast a spell. It's a ranged touch attack. 20 to hit.
Including firing into combat?
Nope. 16 to hit.
16 on a touch attack is more than enough.
And a bolt of acid flings out and does 3 points of damage on her.
Nice.
So you just smash her with a bolt of acid. Do you aim anywhere in particular?
At her face.
So a bolt of acid comes, it smacks her in the neck, and she kind of like, ah! She screams a little bit.
Just imagine how horrific that is in real world terms.
Yeah, that would be awful. That would absolutely be awful. It's also now her go. The first thing that she does is she brandishes those two weapons. She 5 foot steps back from each of you, Reg and Miles, because you're up in her grill, and each of you gets a bolt to the face, one from each weapon. As she pulls the weapons up, you can see these tubes. There are 3 tubes that are basically attached to a canister of air, and you can hear a hiss of air before a bolt is fired at each of you. The one against you, Reg, ooh, this isn't going to be too bad at all. That is going to be a 13 to hit you on a touch attack.
Not enough.
Oh, excellent. So the bolt kind of goes past. Do you have the ability to grab a bolt out of midair?
No. That's a couple. Well, I could take that as my next feat. Yeah.
Okay,
monk
but
feat.
you don't have that right now.
That would have been really cool. Yeah.
Miles, the second crossbow bolt comes firing at you. Again, a touch attack because you're so close. You think just the force of this would pierce through any armor. This is a touch attack of 18.
Yep, that will do it.
The bolt slices into you, and you take 4 points of damage from this bolt.
Ow.
And then you hear her go, Beans, get on your fucking ass. Get up. That's her go. Done. Miles, what are you going to do?
Step up and take another swing.
Moles, lay that fucker out.
That's a 18 to hit.
18 is definitely enough. You smash her.
So that's 5 points of damage, and a will save, please, as Hex Strike comes into
5 points.
5 points of damage.
It's just a big haymaker. Miles doesn't have any real boxing technique. It's just a big wild hit and connects, obviously.
Yep. Her will save is a 7.
She falls asleep.
She closes her eyes, falls to the floor. You see the people around you kind of get a little bit excited seeing these 2 assailants falling over and not doing anything until you can hear the groan of Beans on the floor starting to wake up as your Hex Strike starts to wear off. So it's Pierre's go. Pierre grabs a piece of rope out of her pouch, and as she walks over to the girl, you can see her starting to tie up her hands behind her. Reg.
Okay, from there then, Reg, obviously knowing that, or seeing that the other assailant is starting to regain consciousness, I'm going to just move straight over to them.
Yep.
Like kind of menacingly as I can with
Yep.
my 4 feet height over them and just say, stay down.
Okay, give me an intimidate check. Let's see how
Let's
the
do that.
force that you can push behind this.
Yeah. 10.
A 10. You can see they kind of look up, and he's looked over. He can see that Galitan's on the floor with not much, and he kind of puts his hands up. He's like, all right. There's no need for any of this trouble. I'm unarmed. Look, I'll go in peace.
You're not going anywhere, mate.
Flopsy.
Flopsy will walk over to Beans and pick up the weapon that's next to Beans and just casually point it in his direction, going, what's this weapon? Waving it menacingly at him.
Look, don't shoot. If you don't know what that is, put it down. That's fucking dangerous.
Why would you bring it into a tavern with all these people if it's so dangerous?
What the fuck kind of question's that? I'm trying to rob the place, you dumbass.
Pierre dumbass is all you've got for you right now.
Oh, I give up. Look, just fucking take that out of my face. I'll give up. And you can kind of see the ghost is done with him, and he's kind of like, I'm done here. Just fucking leave me alone.
Can I sense motive to make sure he's not trying to trick us out?
Yeah.
I'll assist. Well, now I roll a 17. Let's get stuffed.
That gets me to 13.
13. Yeah, you've got him. You've got Reg standing over him. He doesn't have a weapon inside. The best he's got, you see it like a boot knife, but that's about it. So he's kind of got his hands up, and he says, "Just look, don't hurt her, don't hurt me. We'll go quietly, all right?"
I do believe you're under arrest.
Yeah, after a while, you've got the assailants done. Somebody's called a member of the watch. During this time, you get a chance to search them. Piera looks at you and he says, "Those things can't go back on the streets. Those gas bows are too dangerous. You'd better grab them before the watch arrive. I don't trust the watch to have them. They're not something that we want around this place." She passes you one of those weapons, or all 3 of those weapons, to deal with what you can. You also pat down these assailants, and you find that on their persons, they each have studded leather, but you can't really undress them. They've got 5 daggers each a piece hidden around their bodies, and they've got a full quiver of these pipes. They're basically what you would think of is ammunition. So there's the equivalent of 21 pieces of ammunition for these gas bows, but the ammunition comes in bolts of 3. And you've never seen this weapon before. She kind of looks at you and goes, "That's a gas bow right there. Those things have been coming out from the underground. This means that these guys are guild related. That's not good news for us at all. They'll probably just be walking on the streets before we know it."
What guild is that?
The Thieves Guild, of course.
Oh, yes, of course.
After she tells you that you need to take control of the gas bows, you also continue to pat them down. Between them, they have about 50 GP on them from different purses from the takings of the night. So not each, but between them, there's about 50 GP on them. You also get a potion of cure light wounds from each of them.
Flopsy will hand a gas bow.
She kind of says, "Look, those things are pretty dangerous. You might want to conceal them. The watch aren't going to let them go out, but I don't trust the watch either, so I'm not letting these go back into their hands. Chuck them in your bags."
Miles tucks it in the inside of his jacket.
Flopsy whacks it in his backpack.
The watch comes, they collect everyone, and she says to you, "You know, we work pretty well as a team. I just happen to know of an opening that pays 5 GP a week that might be perfect for each of you. You can even get yourselves a bunk for the night. Tomorrow, the Night Watch are recruiting. Eat up, because I'm heading there myself." She puts a hand in the air, she clicks, and when the serving girl appears, the same serving girl that Beans had around the neck, she orders a herb-encrusted rabbit for everybody
Ooh,
and
yum.
another round of drinks, and she says to you, "Let's get this party started. Tomorrow, we need to work."
To fallen comrades and new friends.
People in the bar, obviously, you know, you get accolades from them. The halfling owner comes over. She gives you rounds of drinks. Obviously, everything's on the house for the remainder of the evening, and you're welcome here at any time. All of that kind of stuff happens. So
Miles chucks a wink at the serving girl he saved.
You dirty dog.
Flopsy will eat quite quickly, ask for a room. "Gentlemen, I'm going to retire, see if I can get a bath and a
Time
bed."
for that bath, yeah.
Are you staying here then? I thought we'd all go to the barracks so that we could get an early start on the night watch.
Is there a bath and a bed?
No, it's a barracks.
Can we stay here tonight and head off in the morning from a fresh start from here?
But she gives you the
Just come into some money and I would like to utilize it.
she gives you the address of where the barracks are, gives you directions to go from here, and she says, "Look, get a bit of rest because you're going to be up all night, but gives you a bit of time in the afternoon if you want to go sightseeing, like I said.
Be
Get
Irish.
around the place."
Can we meet you at midday at the barracks and go for a little tour of the town? You can talk us through what's going on and then we head to the night watch.
Sure, of course we can do that.
Lovely. Are you all right? Do you need
I'm
any
fine.
assistance? Can I ask you one possibly impertinent question?
Of course.
Who was that gentleman that came in before?
What gentleman?
The
She
one
kind of
that-
gets a little bit abashed again.
The one that you had the conversation that didn't look like it was amicable.
Flopsy, I think that was her losing her job with the Learned Guard. I don't think it's something you need to worry about at
What
the moment.
was his name?
I'd appreciate it if maybe you didn't pursue that line of questioning. Let's just say that business is done in my life. I've moved on again.
Right. Perhaps then we all find ourselves friends anew. Perhaps you'd like to accompany us for a little while.
That sounds like a grand idea.
See you at midday tomorrow. I'm heading upstairs, gentlemen. We've got a little bit of business before we retire for the night. The ring, and then to bed, I think.
Hi. Okay. Miles seems a bit sad to be leaving the probably festive events that have been going on.
Oh, look, I'm going for a
downstairs.
bath. You don't have to head up straight away. I normally soak for an hour. Looking for some hot pockets, girl? Hot pockets.
Right then, Miles, you and me having a couple more drinks then.
Yes, that sounds good.
Let's go.
And you spend the rest of the evening. I guess you get to spend this how you want. We don't need to role play this unless you're going to do anything other than have a few drinks, have something to eat, and then
Dancing on the tables.
Yeah.
go for a
Drink, flirt, eat.
Yep.
Flopsy will
Give us
leave.
a diplomacy check, please, Miles. As you're in the big smoke, you've got these skirts that you're chasing. Let's see how positive you are.
Flopsy will have left 5 GP on the table as he leaves, courtesy of Beans and
Keeping in
Galitan.
mind that I did just knock out 2 assailants single-handedly.
You're on about the hero factor.
That's a 5.
Fine. Yeah, I mean, you're flirting. They're kind of nice to you, but you don't make too much headway. Your version of flirting is from the beet farm. Their version is city flirting. This is a lot more complicated than yours.
So he's doing barn dancing and
Yeah.
it's getting nowhere.
Doing a lot of, I like your beats. Your beats are rosy.
There are some birthing hips you have there.
I can tend your field,
I've got
lovely.
a cow like that at home. And you retire for the evening.
Flopsy retires for the evening. Not interested in talking turnips or any other kind of nips.
Well, probably an hour or two later, we'd probably stumble upstairs a bit tipsy and
Flopsy will want to gather his gentlemen around before we go to bed. Gentlemen! Oh, you've had a few beers, I see.
Aye!
Come, this won't take a moment. I've been exploring and trying to remember and understand what I'd seen on the journey on the way here. I saw a gentleman that I think was Beldrin talking to his acolyte. And if you will, please just place your hands over the ring as I say some incantations.
No, Flopsy, we've just got here.
Yes.
This isn't going to be us bouncing out again now, is it?
Hey, I think
Are
they
you sure
really
we're
like-
not going to encourage a portal to form now?
Yep, that's right.
Can I sense motive?
We can do that thing if you want to.
I don't think he has a motive. He doesn't know this information. The only way he can lie
I'm at
about
23
this is if
on the
he-
bluff.
Oh, 21. There you go. Then you got me.
Well, that's good.
Little Edge
Yep.
falls for it. Hook, line, and sinker once
Absolutely,
again.
no portals will be formed.
Okay,
when
cool.
I
Let's do this then.
Just
Let's do
place
this
your
one.
hand on my hand. And he says the words he heard Beldrin say in the portal, and
And what are those words?
it's magical script that is beyond the dialect and understanding of all people in
I
this room,
think-
apart from I and perhaps Miles.
I think it goes something like skibidi babidi 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 babidi.
Mm-hmm.
Beep,
Yeah.
ba, 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 da, dop.
Now I'm going to give you guys a chance to do this. Brett, knowledge arcana.
Yes, it is.
23.
Oh, no, 23. You remember what you saw. Like all of you saw that as you went past the portal. You saw that image of the little girl and the old man pressing the ring against the little girl's palm. The gestures that he made are the same gestures that you can see Flopsy doing. You see Flopsy saying the word.
Perfantilus distalis.
Got it in one. Well done.
Notes.
And a magical energy seeps out of the ring into each of you, and each of you where the ring has touched you. I'm not sure where, but don't. Each of you where the ring makes contact and where Flopsy does the incantation, you have a little mark in that spot, and that mark's just a little spiral. It's a tiny spiral about the size of a small coin. That just stays in your skin. You see it glow magic for a minute, it burns for a second, and then all of a sudden it just feels normal, like it's your skin, except as you touch it, it's got that kind of scarred kind of feel about it. So all it is concentric circles, just a spiral. That's all it looks like. A bit like ringworm.
You may recall these spirals from the statue where we met and where we left a cath.
I thought they looked familiar.
We are now connected by the dark tapestry, my friends.
What's the dark tapestry?
Oh, come on. We've talked about this before. Keep up, Reginald.
Unless you're doing anything else, the night passes uneventfully in your inn room. Are you doing anything else?
Sleeping off the booze.
Miles will write a letter to his mum to hopefully deliver on the next morn. Miles kind of left town quite suddenly. Probably his mum doesn't know what happened. So Miles is like being the head of his family since his father died and the sole runner of the farm is writing a letter to his mum to hopefully let her know that he's okay and what's happened in the past 2 days. Has it been 2 days? It's been a long.
About that, yeah.
Yeah, it's been
Been a while.
a long 2 days, but yeah, he's going to fill her in on everything and hopefully send it off so she doesn't worry, you know?
So Miles sits up at night time, where do you get the parchment and stuff from?
Oh, from Decat's bag.
So
He's carrying.
You rifle through Decat's bag, you pull out the paper.
Yeah, but I assume by now he's probably gone through and figured out what he's got in there and sorted it all out and probably gotten rid of some stuff that he doesn't want. And
It's been all of 12 hours.
So Miles up late at night, a little bit drunkard. You see tears at one point. You see him forget to write at another point. He stops to throw up. The next morning rolls around, sort of late. Do you sleep in like you are?
No, so Reggie's up a lot earlier than everybody else. He's going through his forms, his combat forms, meditating and like purging his mind, ready for the day.
Where would you have done that, Rich?
How big is the room?
It's a small bedroom. Like think of it about a small. Essentially, it's got 2 beds in it with 2 side tables, and that's about it. It's not much bigger than anything else. They can wheel a bath in there if you need to, but it's not a huge place. You don't think that it's big enough for you to do.
So Reg being a halfling and only 4 feet tall, that's probably plenty of space for him to go through a form or 2
Okay.
on the floor there. Yeah.
Miles probably also would have woken up pretty early, being that he's a farmer, but he wouldn't have known what to do, so he probably just went downstairs and had a walk or reread the letter that he wrote drunk.
Your head is pounding. Yeah, as a young man you haven't had too much time with alcohol before, and
He is from Urban Falls.
Reg, as you're doing your forms in the room, you're kind of in there doing your carters, going back and forth, and one of the serving girls just opens the door and she kind of looks in there and she watches you for a second before you notice her noticing you, what you're doing.
Yep.
And she kind of says, "That's great. I haven't seen something like that before. Tell me about it."
Well, it's just, I'm just messing around here. Nothing really much going on. I'm just practicing the art of empty-handed combat.
Are you here to compete in the Aurorium?
At that point, Reg's ears really perk up. The Aurorium? Why? Tell me more. I have some understanding of competitions here, but I've not heard of that one in particular.
You know, the large arena. The Aurorium, the place where people go to combat each other, to fight each other. They do kite fighting there, jousting there. They do a bit of fighting. It's a magnificent spectacle.
Oh, fantastic! Do monks go there?
Of course, the monks go there. The monks of Imade are always there.
Fantastic. Where, young lady, what is your name?
My name's Becker.
Becker.
Yeah, Becker.
Becker, what a wonderful, fortuitous thing to meet your acquaintance today. Can you just tell me where this Aurorium is?
Yeah, she kind of gives you a description. Basically, she describes to you like the Colosseum. It's a big arena where people go and they watch spectacles of sport.
And it's like every day this is going on?
It's not every day, but it's kind of a weekend spectacle or a special event spectacle. But it's certainly something that happens quite often.
Does she know how to get in?
You just buy a ticket.
No, as in to compete.
Oh, no.
Okay.
She's just a serving girl. She doesn't know much more than what a spectator would know to go see a large sport ball competition.
Okay, cool.
She can describe to you that it's a big arena. Lots of people go there and they have different special events. She doesn't know when the next one is, but she says you could probably find out. It definitely wouldn't be for probably another 5 or 6 days till the weekend.
Awesome. So like Reggie's like super pumped about this, like a real sense of opportunity for him to broaden his horizons.
She talks to you that it's in the Ascendant Court district.
Ascendant Court.
Flopsy will get up quite early, around 10 a.m. look for some hot pockets and read his book for a little while, knowing he has to meet at midday. He needs to meet at midday at the barracks. Flopsy will also take the quill out and try and understand a bit more of the quill and spend a good deal of time with the ring, trying to understand a bit more about the ring.
So the next day after you've woken up, you've had this interaction doing your forms, little Reg. Miles, you're kind of talking to Tippy, kind of learning your spells, getting acquainted with this new thing on your shoulder that you formed a friendship with.
Yeah, I kind of assume it would have gone, "Morning, Master. Please select spells to prepare for the next day."
Put that thing in a snooze mode.
With me, and I'll be like, okay. I'm trying to figure out more magic stuff as I go.
Sure. And Flopsy, you're reading your book as you do, learning your spells. It is at that moment that each of you kind of realize something different, something new. You've leveled up.
Ooh.
You are now 2nd level characters.
Level.
Yes.
Okay, so we've taken a bit of time now to level up to our 2nd level characters. We've got 3 characters who have now leveled up to level 2. Tell us a little bit what's happening with Miles. So, Lindsay, how have you leveled Miles up? What's his level 2 level?
So Miles is taking another level in Witch. So he basically just gets another hex. So I've taken Cackle, which means as a move action, I can extend all my other hexes. So if I apply Slumber and I Cackle as a move action, it extends it for another round.
Well, that's exciting for me. Sounds like I'm going to love that one. Flopsy, what have you taken for level 2?
Flopsy's very interested in alchemical creations and has taken a level in Alchemist.
Alchemy. So
Alchemist.
does that mean you have to purchase an alchemical kit at some point?
Perhaps when we go shopping and looking around today, I'll buy a kit, and that will allow him to make mutagens and elixirs and bombs.
Oh, bombs. That's going to be fun. Especially with Flopsy's disregard for collateral damage.
Yeah, everyone can take care of themselves, surely. Don't be in the bomb if you don't want to be in the bomb.
And Little Reg, what have you done for level 2?
Little Reg has taken a level of cleric.
Ooh, what kind of cleric? So who are you following?
So I'm following the god Aurora, however you want to pronounce it, which is usually the patron god of monks anyway.
Don't you pronounce it the way it's spelled?
Aurora?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you do?
Is that how language always works?
Not always.
I
give
just-
you pterodactyl.
I was worried. As soon as I said it, I thought, I'm probably sure people are going to be unhappy with the way I
There is
pronounced
a
it.
pronunciation guide on the internet. For
Is
all,
there?
Yeah, once you look up their names on the internet, they actually break it down into the phonetic way of saying their name.
Nice.
I believe it is pronounced Irori.
Aurora. Okay. So the idea being that Aurora is taking taking some interest in Little Reg's situation and has bequeathed him, is that the right word, or bestowed upon him some additional abilities that he thinks is going to be required for his forthcoming journey.
Excellent. What I'm hearing there is we've finally got some party healing. That is something that that's going to be very important. All right. So for the listeners, when we level up around this table, we do 2 rolls. I get to roll the hit point roll. The players get to roll the hit point roll, and they get to take the better one. So Miles, what is your hit dice?
D6. I rolled a 4.
I also rolled a 4. So take whichever one you want.
I'll take a 4.
Flopsy, what's your hit dice?
A D100.
I rolled a 1.
D8.
A D8.
Nice.
5.
I also rolled a 5. What is this? We're pair rolling. Okay, the pressure is on for you and me, Reg. What's your hit dice?
D8.
D8. Let's see if we can roll the same again.
8!
I also rolled an 8. What is going on? That is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous.
That is epic. Nobody will believe that actually happened.
No, that
Nobody will
actually
believe
happened.
that happened.
So you've got your characters, you've got your new abilities, you're feeling a little bolstered, you've got a job on the horizon. How do you spend the day?
Flopsy's going to spend some time trying to investigate the quill, the ring, and then he wants to meet up with Biara at midday at the barracks.
Just make your spellcraft checks to see if you can identify that. You're talking about the quill that you couldn't identify?
Yeah.
Can Miles assist?
Sure.
He does not.
I was just about to say, how does Miles doesn't know anything, but he's like, I'll help you identify this magic item. I can't even identify my own magic. So what was your spellcraft check?
19.
19 is enough to know that it is a wand of Cure Light Wounds with 12 charges left
I've
in
just
it.
taken a level in cleric. I didn't even need to.
Do you want to take the wand?
Well,
You get to cast it
no,
automatically.
but I'm loaded up with healing anyway. Wouldn't it be better to put it to somebody who's
I
very
could take the
squishy?
wand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a Cure Light Wounds wand with 12 charges.
12 charges.
So I'll know. Reggie would know then, obviously, if Mars has got that Flopsy's the one that will need maybe a little bit more attention if it goes
You've
down
seen
badly.
Flopsy cast healing on himself as well, on you guys previously. So everyone's got a little bit of healing.
Cool.
With an advance in level, Miles, does that give you a little more insight to your magical abilities? Do you think now that you've got Tippy on your shoulder, now that you've expanded your capacity to cast spells, how does that play out with Miles and him really not knowing about magic?
Familiars are how witches store their spells. So I think Tippy's kind of teaching me a lot of stuff as I go, and plus learn and experience. You know, he's cast half a dozen spells since then. He's figured out he can cast his hex from a range. I think it's just he's trying to figure it out as he goes.
So you essentially have got a better handle on this magic thing now. So it's not coming as a surprise. You're doing things more deliberately.
And he's a smart guy, so he's kind of putting 2 and 2 together. And that's kind of why I gave him some knowledge skills in spellcraft and arcana, is because he's putting 2 and 2 together from what he learns and experiences.
Okay, that makes a bit of sense. So the day's spent doing a little bit of shopping, catching up on some things that you need to. So just broad strokes. We don't really need to go through the minutiae of this, but what's your intent during the day before you meet up with Piera around midday? And even, I guess, after you meet up with Piera, what do you want to do before 12?
So Little Reg would like to find out a little bit more about the Aurorium, the competitions, the combat that's going on there, how to get involved in that, and maybe if there's any schools of combat in the district, in the Ascendant district, or in the district that we're actually in. What the deal is? Because obviously, once he finds out that combat is something that the community likes, then obviously he's going to assume that there is going to be outlets or schools or temples that are going to offer training for people to maybe get involved in that.
Yeah, that's in a totally different district, so you'd have to actually travel quite a distance to do that.
Would
so
nobody have local knowledge within the area that I could just like kind of ask the innkeeper where we're staying or anything like that, a bit more than the wench would have had any information?
the knowledge that you get, you ask about the Aurorium, and everyone says, look, if you want to be a gladiator, if you want to be a fighter, you need to go to the Aurorium and train. So
Cool.
there's a specific training school at the Aurorium. Like, there's not combat schools outside of there. They talk about, really, if you want to be part of that, you got to go there and train for it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not going to lead the party. I'm not going to move off in that kind of direction just yet, but just getting as much information as I can.
Miles probably wants to try and find somewhere to send a letter off to.
Sure, you
To his
can.
mother.
There's posts where people would send off mail normally. So you get that letter off, you send it to people. Yep, easy.
Carrier
Cool.
Hawk.
And you meet up with Pierre around midday. Pierre is waiting for you outside of the barracks.
Are we kind of walking towards her with a newfound swagger now that we're level 2? We just look a little bit more meaner and wiser and cooler. Still shorter.
The barracks is a big stone buildings with a courtyard out the front of it. Looks like a barracks would, like a private school. She's standing in sort of the parade ground waiting for you. She sees you, smiles, and she says to you, "Top of the morning to you. What are we doing today? Got a couple of hours before we have to be back here for parade. So what do you want to do?"
Madam Piara, I would dearly love to do some shopping. Is there a place where there's magic items and alchemist, perhaps? And perhaps a general tour of the land. If we're going to join a watch, perhaps we should know where and how the streets are laid out around here.
Flopsy, to be honest, mate, I'm famished.
I just had breakfast. Hot pockets were at 11 at breakfast time.
I know. I'm still famished.
We could grab a bite for sure.
Let's do that.
Maybe a street vendor or something on the way.
Sounds good.
Yes, please show us around town. I'm interested to see more of this city.
So Piera takes you on a bit of a tour around the town. The way the day goes, you do your shopping in the morning. Mundane items are easy to find here. Even magical items to a certain extent aren't a problem to find. Piera would take you around. She kind of gives you a bit of a tour of the streets, but she says she can't go too far. So you can't really see everything that's on offer in the Wise district. And she at one point says, "It's time to get back. We've really got to get back to the barracks. Actually, you know what you haven't done? You haven't fitted yourselves out. Come on, let's go." And she takes you inside the barracks where you see a whole heap of other recruits. These guys all look like greenskins. They all look a little wet behind the
Goblins.
ears.
I'm thinking you think greenhorns.
I am. She takes you inside the barracks and she says, "Look, the first thing you've got to do is get your night watch equipment. All of us get all of this stuff." And she kind of goes up to one of the dispensaries. So there's a person behind there and she gets each of you to sign in, do your paperwork. You're each issued with the following stuff as you sign in to become a member of the Night Watch. You receive a sap, a wooden shield, which is very, very battered. You receive an armband with the big sign of an N on it that you are supposed to wear to sign you as a member of the Night Watch. You get a whistle.
Yes.
And she also gets another pack that you see, and she says, "Oh, this is for each squad, and we all get these." And she pulls out 3 healers kits, a bullseye lantern, and a flare tube that you are issued with. Don't forget that all of this equipment needs to be returned in the morning. So make sure you look after it and don't lose it. Whatever you do, don't lose it. All right. Get yourself squared away. Let's look shape. And she kind of stands you up, looks you up and down, and she's kind of like, tuck your shirt in, put on your shoes, gets you ready and goes, "All right, we got to make ourselves look good for the first day. We don't want a really bad sector of town that we have to work in." And with that, we'll see you next time.
I'm not even proficient on SAP.
Aren't you proficient? I don't know.
You're a bit of a sap in general.
Well, that's quite right, hey.
So the other day I was at the hairdresser and they said to me, "Do you want to get a perm?"
What do you reckon?
Yes.
On what, your head or?
He wasn't even looking in my
Full
direction.
body.
I was going to say, we started
body
the
perm.
podcast with the full body hair.